This is Jerry Carolla with Hampton Days Magazine. This is the Milk Pail. I am talking with Jen Halsey. Let's get right to it. The Milk Pail is located at 1346 Montauk Highway in Watermill. The best thing to tell people, it is right on the border of Watermill and Bridgehampton. Okay. Now, the Halsey family has deep, deep roots in the Hamptons. A dear friend of mine died a couple of years ago. He's actually buried in the Edgewood Cemetery. That was Mr. Chet Bow. They called him the Fat Cat. A place where I visit occasionally. There are headstones, several headstones, marked Halsey, dating back to the early 1800s. Tell us a little bit about the history of the Halsey's history with farming in the Hamptons.
Well, my sister Amy and I are the 12th generation of Halseys here in the Hamptons. And pretty much as far as I know, going all the way back, they farmed mostly potatoes. My grandfather grew potatoes, but before that, they pretty much just grew what they needed to survive on their own. My grandfather's generation was the generation that moved out and started selling wholesale and getting into the industry, whereas, you know, early in the 1600s, you only grew what you needed to eat.
Right, right.
So they could grow pretty much anything.
Okay, and now that they moved into retail quite a few years, this location is actually celebrating 43 years in business. That's a milestone for anybody. I don't care what kind of business you're in. How long do you go back here?
Until I was a kid. I used to work here as a kid. And then in 1998 we switched to an LLC, and a few years after that my sister and I bought my parents out.
Oh, okay, okay.
So my sister and I now own the business, and my parents are technically retired.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the stuff you grow here and some of your products. First off, let's talk about the apples. How long does a good apple take from the seed to the time you can bite into it? What period of time is an apple grown before it's best to be eaten?
Well, when we don't plant seeds, because the seeds in a pollinated apple will never come out the same apple that you thought they were, because they're pollinated and different pollen makes a different apple. So we buy all of our trees as little whips from a nursery where they have been grafted. So then you have the apple that you want for sure. Planted in the ground, depending on the variety, some are stronger, some are weaker, you can have apples in the second year. Now, full crop you could probably get in the 4th or 5th year, and that's what we like to do, because you put an investment in, you need to have a return on that investment as soon as possible. So within the 4th or 5th year we have full production of those apples.
Right. Well, I'm a little biased. The same way that college kids would drink beer out of a funnel, I could drink the apple cider here. That's how good. Just take us through the process of what's involved in making the apple cider. What's the process?
We have cider apples. What we consider cider apples are the seconds, ones that have a couple of marks on them, ones that people maybe wouldn't want to eat out of hand, but they're perfectly fine apples, nothing wrong with them. And they're all mixed up in, or they might be solid bins. What we try to do is make a nice blend where you take sweet and tart, some in between. John Gold is a very key player in the blend. It adds a nice flavor, so we want to make sure we have John Gold in there when we have them available. So the blend is what starts it. We then dump them into a hopper, and they all get washed, which is probably the second or third time they've been washed. They run up a conveyor belt and run into a grinder where they get pulverized into pretty much what looks like applesauce, but with stems, skins, seeds.
Right.
And then through that, it goes into the press where we have big cloths. And the pulp gets put into that, and the cloths get folded up, and then there's a rack and a cloth, rack and cloth, rack and cloth. Right. It piles up, and then you squeeze them together. The juice comes out, the pulp stays in the cloth.
Gallon-wise, how many gallons does the milk pail produce a year?
I think it's around 15,000 gallons.
Whoa. Wow. What's the length of time an apple is made to be eaten and one that's made to go for the cider?
Well, any apple can go into cider. There are certain seasons for apples. We have summer apples that are usually gone by the middle of September, and then we get into different varieties that are September, that are harvested in September, and then ones that are harvested later. The ones that we're selling now this time of year and into the winter are the ones that are harvested late October into November, and they were developed to remain crunchy. Like Fuji, for example, they will stay hard until June and be very flavorful and last all just in regular cold storage, which is like your refrigerator.
Right. The milk pail here has a minimum of 6 or 7 styles of apples. What are some of your favorite apples?
During the season, I really like the John Gold. Those are one of my favorites because they're such a combination of sweet and tart. The Galas, everybody loves the Galas because they're so sweet. I'm not a big sweet fan. I like more of the tart ones. But today I just ate a Pink Lady. I haven't had one since we picked them. I know, Pink Lady, what a name.
Right.
They're a little bit tart. When we pick them, we like to store them for a while because they mellow out and get a much better flavor. And the one I had today was just phenomenal. So glad we waited.
Tell us about the Milk Pail's donuts.
The famous apple cider donut. We've been making the donuts ever since we opened. We add a little apple cider to the batter. What more is to say? It's just a famous apple cider donut that everybody loves.
Okay, and give us a little bit of markup on the cheese, on the cheeses.
Originally, my parents had a connection with Vermont because my mom's parents moved up there and actually grew apples, and that's where the first apple came was from up there. So they made a connection in Vermont, and we still sell the Vermont extra sharp cheddar.
Right.
And many of our customers really like it because it's so sharp, and you actually buy it in and then age it some more. But since then, Mecox Dairy has started their cheese, so we sell their cheese, and also Catapano Goat Farm, we sell their cheese when the goats are on duty. So, you know, we still have our Vermont connections, but we're also trying to really support other local farmers in the area.
Absolutely.
And so we've got a nice little selection of cheeses now.
Excellent. Good hand in hand going. Okay, and now Christmas is right upon us. It doesn't have to be the holidays. Tell us about some of the gift packs that people can get here.
Yeah, you can do anything, any time of year. We can send apples as long as we have them. In the summer it's a little tough, but we can send them across the United States as far as apples, and we can add jams, cheeses, whatever you want to the box. And if you have somebody local that you want to deliver to, we can make a really nice gift basket with pretty much anything that you want in it.
Okay, and again, a personal favorite of mine, let's discuss the Milk Pail's pies. Start with the basic apple pie.
The pies that we sell, the only pies that we sell are made with our own fruit, so we only sell apple and peach pies. It has to be made with our fruit. The apple pie is my grandmother's recipe, so you'll never find that recipe anywhere else. And our good friends down at Breadzilla, they actually prepare the pie for us, and then we freeze them, and when we need them, we can cook them, so that's how they're fresh all the time. But they're very good pie.
Would the Milk Pail ever consider having like a pie eating contest? I tell you now, I would be the world heavyweight champion. But has that ever even been considered?
No,
for a charity event?
I haven't thought of it.
Maybe we could discuss that later on. Okay, and lastly, like I said, something that you really didn't want to talk about too much. I don't like to ambush the people I'm interviewing, but I'm going to do it anyway. But really, if you had some amnesty, how would you like to take just one pie one time and bash it over the head of someone who comes up with the pie and says, "Is the pie any good?" Just
then
once.
they would be able to taste it for sure. But it would be much better if it had cream on it than the cream taste. But ours don't have whipped cream, but we do have good ice cream to go with them.
Okay. Once again, this is the Milk Pail, located at 1346 Montauk Highway in Watermill. This is Jen Halsey. She's here all year round. Come on down. I'm Jerry Carolla for Hampton Days Magazine. Thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas.